Do you guys remember that dude from a little while back? That the guy that went crazy on talking about pronouns in fucking, what was the name of that game? Starfield or whatever. Remember that guy, the bald-headed dude? His name is Heel versus Babyface. And I decided, hey, I'm going to check into this dude, because, you know, that video that he had kind of became his 15 minutes of fame there. And I'm sure he probably got 1 million subs or whatever just off of that one video, because conservatives and Christians and stuff love it when guys like this hate on the libs or whatnot. So pretty sure that was his 15 minutes of fame. Wanted to see, though, one of his other videos, and I found this one, a more recent one, about the Doctor Who Christmas special. Have you guys watched Doctor Who? For those of you who don't know, there were a couple of specials where the 14th Doctor came back for a little while. And what the fuck was the 14th Doctor's name? He was the dude that played fucking the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. What the hell's his name? David Tennant. David Tennant came back for 3 episodes, basically. 3 specials that aired on Disney+, which were actually really good. This kind of drove the conservatuds and Christian assholes and culture warrior types up the wall, because Donna has a trans woman for a daughter. So there's a trans character, so they all lost their fucking minds over that. And then the 15th Doctor shows up, and spoilers if you don't know or care yet, the 15th Doctor is a gay black man. See, Doctor Who has been kind of knocking it out of the park when it comes to diversity lately. We just had a few years of a female Doctor, which apparently wasn't very good. I actually haven't been watching Doctor Who. It used to be on Amazon, and then they took it away. And I'm not going to pay more money to watch it on the BBC. I'm not going to, pay more money to get another fucking streaming service just so I can watch one show. Getting back to the main story, that really drove people absolutely fucking bonkers. The fact that Doctor Who is black and also gay is really driving people fucking mad. And Babyface here seems to have a serious fucking problem with it. So let's listen to what the man has to say.
Gatwa is now the kinda, sorta, probably not really, Doctor. And people turned out in their tens of millions to see his debut on Christmas Day. No, they didn't. It was the lowest rated Christmas Doctor Who show of all time.
Okay. Interesting mug. I'm guessing that was supposed to be funny. The gay AF mug there. I like how we're starting out already by showing that it's the ratings for the show. I don't know if you guys know this, but the ratings for Doctor Who have been going down for years now. I mean, I think they peaked a little while back. They have not been very good for a quite some time. And this kind of happens with TV shows, right? Is that no TV show has consistent ratings that just stay at the top forever. You'll have a show that'll be rated really good at the beginning, and then it'll stick around for a little while. And then as the show goes on, the ratings go down. And sometimes they go back up. Sometimes they go down again. Most of the time, they kind of hover around a certain level for a little while. And that's what Doctor Who's ratings are like. They've just sort of been hovering at right around the same sort of place for a little while and slowly kind of going down. And it's the same thing with movie sequels. You know, you have what's called the law of diminishing returns. If you look at, say, any given movie franchise, say The Terminator, every sequel that comes out makes less money. I think Salvation made a little bit, but it kind of tanked a little bit. Genesis made it, but they make enough to make it worth their while, but it's still not the same. They want Avengers money, is what they want. They're shooting for the moon. They want to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're only just making dozens of millions of dollars, right? Why is that? Law of diminishing returns. Each movie that comes out, the audience shrinks, because some people are going to see it and not like it. And so then they're going to say, well, I'm not going to see the sequel to this then because I didn't like this one. So each sequel, it goes down and down and down and down. And it's very rare that a sequel outperforms the original. That's sort of how movies work. That's how TV shows work too. Eventually, the ratings always go down for any given show. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be MASH. I mean, it can be Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was hot shit for years. For like the first 3 seasons, it was unstoppable. Then it started kind of diminishing after that. And what happens when it diminishes, right? They spend less money on it. This is just how it works with every show, right? Every single show that there is. The audience starts shrinking. They start spending less money on it. Pretty soon, it's sort of the audience, it'll either tap out or it'll start shrinking, and then eventually the show cancels. And very few TV shows have a multi-year run like that. Most shows only get 1, maybe 2 seasons. Maybe 3 if they're really good, and that's it. Very few shows go on for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. The ones that do are really like the best shows. Those are the shows that everybody loves. Things like Game of Thrones, before it started sucking. Star Trek, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, shit like that. Those, the X-Files, the shows that go on for a decade or more. Supernatural. MASH. MASH was like, the last episode of MASH was like the highest rated freaking television event of all time or something like that, right? But even MASH eventually ended. And that's just what happens with TV shows. And the same thing is going on with Doctor Who. Law of diminishing returns. It's not going to be on top forever. I mean, the first series of Doctor Who lasted a good, 17, 18 years, something like that. But it eventually ended. Ratings got bad enough to where it wasn't profitable anymore. And it'll happen again. They might keep it going for a few more seasons yet. But how long has Doctor Who been on the air now? Since what? 2007? Isn't that when did they reboot Doctor Who? 2008, something like that. It's been on the air for 15 years now, something like that. It's been on for a long fucking time. Most TV shows don't last this long. Doctor Who's one of the exceptions, but even Doctor Who is not invulnerable to this shit. It will eventually get canceled. And that just seems to be what's happening here. So let's continue on. All right. I know I just said that I wasn't going to have long ass fucking, I wasn't going to like have long tangents and shit like that. And then I just went on one for like 10 minutes, but let's listen to what the man has to say.
Hi everyone, it's Az here from Heel vs. Babyface. So the latest Doctor Who show hit on Christmas Day this year. No, I won't call it a Christmas special, because if I'm going to use Doctor Who and special in the same sentence, then I'm probably going to have to use the word Olympics or needs after it. There was nothing special about this Doctor Who show whatsoever. In actual fact, it didn't even feel like a Doctor Who show.
He wrote that, didn't he? That was supposed to be a joke. Okay.
It felt like queer as folk. I'm only mucking about. Queer as Folk was much less gay than this was. Now, Russell T Davies is calling Doctor Who a fantasy.
Am I the only person who notices just how unfunny conservatives actually are? Like, I'm not the only person to notice that, right? Where conservative, comedians are, the biggest fucking, no-talent morons who've, ever fucking existed. This is not funny at all.
Show now, and not necessarily science fiction.
Give me some Willy! Alright, I said sorry, okay?
Sorry, Russell, my suspension of disbelief can only go so far. Quick, Doctor, inject some masculinity into the show. Toot sweet. Falling down on my right, maybe not.
I guess that was supposed to be funny. I think he knows it's not funny, right?
Right, maybe not then. Thank goodness.
I think that right there, right, maybe not then. I think that's him acknowledging that his jokes are just not funny. Mr. Babyface, if you ever actually see this video, which you probably will not, but if you ever do, what made you funny in that previous Starfield video was you losing your mind and ranting like a madman. That was actually kind of funny. And it was funny because people were laughing at you. They weren't laughing with you, and they weren't really agreeing with you. They were laughing at, look at this giant fucking moron losing his mind over a video game that is complete, like, optional shit in a video game that he doesn't have to play. If you really don't like it, then don't play the game. That's why people were laughing at you, because you were acting like a child. So you trying to be funny on purpose just doesn't really land, because your jokes are not funny. The shit you're saying is not funny at all. It's sometimes, you know, when a comedian bombs really hard, you can chuckle because you feel bad for the guy. Like, oh my god, look how bad this dude is. Like, it's not even evoking the pity chuckles. Like, I don't feel embarrassed for this guy because what he's saying is sad or whatnot. It's not even that. There's just no reaction at all. I don't know. Continuing.
There's nothing else happens within the next couple of minutes.
Now, if you don't...
Wow. That was the second time he used that uninspired, stupid fucking mug joke. This dude's really trying super fucking hard. Alright.
I just got snowman, and I would like to go home.
Thankfully, snowman doesn't have an Urban Dictionary definition, does it, Disbrew? Yes, I'm going to go there. Snowman, the act of inserting a thumb or two fingers into the anus of another person, like a carrot being placed incorrectly on a snowman's face. This is Doctor Who, folks. Thankfully, it's not made for kids.
You can temper that reaction and change it if you introduce these images to people happily and normally and calmly when they're young.
I'm a grown adult, and I don't think I'd react too calmly to a thumb or two fingers getting inserted up my anus, Russell. Still.
I don't think the context of that show, that line was supposed to be that. I mean, it was a Christmas episode. Now, granted, I didn't see the Doctor Who Christmas episode because I don't think it's aired. Is it on Disney Plus? I don't know. If it's on Disney Plus, I'll watch it. I'm assuming the bad guy in the show was a snowman, right? Now, yeah, maybe that was an insider gay joke. And yes, the actor that plays Doctor Who is gay. That's kind of the whole point. There's going to be gay innuendo when you have a gay actor taking on an iconic role like this. I mean, if they didn't lean into the gayness a little bit, I would be disappointed. But just because there's a gay joke that you don't like doesn't mean that... I mean, what did they do wrong exactly? Doctor Who is supposed to be a family show. So? Here's the thing, it's called innuendo. That means that the kids have no idea what it is while the adults can laugh at it. That's the winning formula, by the way, for children's entertainment, if you don't know. Every Disney movie you see, every DreamWorks movie you see, is filled to the brim with jokes that go right over the children's heads, so that the parents who are dragged to the movie with their screaming kids can actually be entertained as well. This is why movies like, say, Toy Story are so good. Toy Story 4. Did you see Toy Story 4? It's actually probably the best Toy Story. And it has multiple plot points that go right over the kids' heads that they're just not going to get. Jokes that sail right over. If you're if you're 5 years old or something, you're not going to understand it. Why are they there? They're for the parents. Because your kid is just there to see Woody and the dinosaur dude and Buzz Lightyear or whatever and play with the toys and haha, mommy, that was so cool, whatever. The kid is not going to understand the sexual tension between Woody and Bo Peep, for example. Right? Is not going to understand that. He's not going to get it. The kid is not going to understand the rivalry between Buzz Lightyear and Woody or whatever. No. Those are things that are there for the parents to enjoy. Most entertainment that isn't stupid is capable of doing this. And yeah, maybe it was a gay joke. Maybe they actually did use snowman in that context. Although I'm betting that it probably wasn't. I'm betting the bad guy in that episode was probably some kind of weird robot alien snowman thing. And that's what it actually meant. And this dude is probably just looking for ways that he can call a gay person a degenerate. That's probably what it is, because there's no, I mean, that's the thing, is that you can expect it. As soon as a gay person takes up a role like this, the conservatives, the first thing they're going to do is claim the gay person is grooming children. That's pretty much what he's saying here. Oh, it's children's entertainment, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be snowman. It's supposed to be a family show. That's what he's leaning towards, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this he's straight out just accusing Doctor Who of being a groomer. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Moving on.
Well, there's probably enough indoctrination for one episode, don't you think?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I spent a long, hot summer with Harry Houdini.
Wait a minute. Is the Doctor gay?
Have you ever shoved anything in your own ass? Yeah, of course. Duh.
So in the first 20 minutes of the episode, we've had Dylan Mulvaney singing a song. We've then had the Doctor mincing around in a skirt in a gay bar. The Doctor then telling a policeman that he's had a thumb or two fingers inserted up his anus. And then the Doctor telling a 19-year-old companion that he spent a long, hot summer with Harry Houdini. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Okay.
Okay. I'm lying. It was a kilt, not a skirt.
That's the third time he's done that shit with the mug, by the way. Yeah, what's the problem with any of that? Yes, this incarnation of the Doctor is probably gay. Why is that bad? What's wrong with that? What, gay people aren't allowed to like sci-fi? Is that what you're trying to say, first off? Right? I mean, who cares? Doctor Who is not real. Why does it matter? And it's not like the minute that they switched over to the black gay Doctor Who that he just started fucking everybody. Has there been any sex on screen yet? Has Doctor Who running around like, is he raping little boys and shit? No. He's going out and fighting alien snowmen and stuff like that. So what's the fucking problem? So there's some gay jokes in it. So you're cracking a gay joke right here. Are you not, Mr. Babyface? Is that mug right here? Does it not say gay as fuck on it? You're cracking a gay joke. Why can't fucking the actual gay actor crack a gay joke? I guess it's fine when you're punching down at gay people. It's fine to crack gay jokes as long as your jokes are bigoted and hateful. But if you try to do one that's actually not bigoted and hateful, if you try to do one that's empowering, suddenly that's what, grooming? It's indoctrination. Fucking ridiculous. Moving on.
As mentioned in the introduction, this was actually the...
I think this guy actually thinks that joke is funny. Like, just drinking out of a mug. I mean, okay, the first time you did it, yeah, maybe some people might have laughed at it. I mean, I think he really must actually believe that's hilarious. Or more likely, he's just like an empty-headed fucking idiot and is not actually really funny at all. Can't write jokes and has very bad comedic timing and doesn't understand that people only like watched his video because he was acting like a crazy person and not because they think he's funny or that because anything he says is like important or poignant or anything like that. That's what I think. I don't know. Maybe there's actually, I don't know. I could just be talking out of my ass. Maybe some people from his audience actually do like the stupid fucking mug, coffee mug gay joke thing. What do I know? Moving on.
lowest viewed Doctor Who Christmas show yet in 18 years of New Who's history, bringing in only 4.73 million overnight viewership. But overnight was actually beaten by 2 out of the 3 60th anniversary shows as well. And as you can see from the consolidated numbers, which have now been amended correctly as the BBC tried to fudge those figures, the drop between the first special to the second special was 500,000. And by the time the third special dropped, nearly 1 million viewers had left.
Yes. This is called the law of diminishing returns. This happens with everything. And it's no surprise to me that Doctor Who is showing the exact same thing. Why? Because some people are watching it, and no matter how many people watch it, there's going to be some people who don't like it, and then those people aren't going to turn in next time. This happens with everything. The fact that 5 million people at all watched it, or you could see these kinds of numbers, that's not bad at all. 5 million people. I bet you if we were to go back to the beginning of Doctor Who, I wonder if it's, you know what, I wonder if I can find, let's see, Doctor Who ratings by season. I mean, is this abnormally low? Average rating. So, Doctor Who came back in 2005. Let's take a look at it. So this is from the Doctor Who Guide, right? Let's move this over here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay. I probably should have planned this out first, but I don't care. I don't know how accurate this is, but let's see. So we can look at every season of Doctor Who going all the way back to 1963 and to see the average rating. So, let's see. It looks like it peaked here in 1976 and then peaked again in 1979 and then starts diminishing. So starts off at 6 million with the very first one. Peaks in 1976 and 79. So this is fucking Tom Baker as the Doctor, right? Is when it peaked in popularity. Then if you look at that, after that, it starts going down, right? Kind of fluctuates a little bit and then starts diminishing, and then they finally cancel it when it hits 4 million in 1989. That's when the first run of Doctor Who got canceled, when it was at 4 million people. Then it comes back, and let's see, it came back in 2005, peaks again 2009. That's when David Tennant was Doctor Who. Then it starts kind of hanging around for a little while, so I guess these are the seasons where the years where he was actually the Doctor, and then it went to the guy after him. I can't remember his name. Looks like it's kind of fluctuated, and then it started going down. And now it's shrinking. 4 million people watching it kind of seems within the same range. It seems a little lower. That seems to be a problem that Doctor Who is having, struggling with its ratings in the first place. I mean, why do you think they even switched up the Doctors to begin with? Seems like every time the ratings start to suffer in Doctor Who, they just kill them off and regenerate it and get a new actor, and it's sort of like a soft reboot to the series, and suddenly it's like a whole new TV show. Isn't that right? We'll see. Maybe this one won't work out. Maybe they'll cancel it. But it's not like this is abnormal for the series. It's not like 4.73 million people watching a particular episode is abnormal for the series. Little low, though. I do admit that.
In the span of a 2-week period. And with the consolidated numbers still to come for the Christmas show, I've got a feeling it's not going to be that great. So in the space of 4 Doctor Who shows in recent weeks, we've had 2 transgender characters. By the way, the chances of those in actual reality are next to 0, but never mind, let's carry on. The Doctor being lectured on how pathetic he is as a man because women's no...
All right. I don't know if you guys caught the little trick that he just said right there. He just got off of this big screed about how the ratings are slipping and they suck and all that. And then he moves right into the fact that they had 2 transgender characters. As if those things had anything to do with each other. Like, what's he actually saying? He's blaming the bad ratings on the transgender people. That's what he's doing. He's saying, hey, look, people aren't watching Doctor Who anymore because there's transgender people in it. Because of those damn transes are ruining Doctor Who. Let alone the fact that it seemed like the ratings were already kind of low to begin with. Remember what we just saw, they were in the 6 to 4 million range before this. These 3 particular specials do seem a little bit lower than where they were at before, but it's not like it went from 15 million people watching to 4 million people watching. Not really. It seems like they're right around the same. Kind of seems a little disingenuous to me, trying to claim all the bad ratings on the fact that there's women and trans people in it now, when the ratings weren't doing that well in the first place. Seems a little bit disingenuous, but let's continue on.
everything, aka intersectional feminism. And of course, remember that one of the women that was lecturing the man was actually a man, but of course, don't worry about that. Okay, let's move on again. We've then had gay doctor, and then of course, we had the lecture on pronouns, which of course, if you're not dumb as fuck, you understand goes alongside with compelled speech. But unfortunately, there is a lot of dumb people. And with these coming at you like a bloody sledgehammer, is it any wonder that people are...
Nowhere in this country, at least, is anybody being compelled to use somebody's personal pronouns. Now, I don't know what's going on in Britain, where this person is from and where Doctor Who is filmed, but somehow I don't think people are going to prison or losing their jobs or anything like that for not using somebody's preferred pronouns. Somehow I doubt that's a thing. I'm not going to bother looking that up right now. Somehow it seems logical to me that if somebody went to prison, or if somebody lost their job or something like that, we would have heard about it by now. It would have been major news by now. Kind of like Jordan Peterson. You know, when Jordan Peterson says that, they'll never get me to use somebody's personal fucking pronouns because he's an asshole. And he claims that, you know, this law will make you go to prison if you don't use somebody's personal pronouns. And that's not the case at all. The law that Jordan Peterson cites in Canada does not throw people in jail for hate speech if you don't use their personal pronouns. It's just not a thing. It's just made up bullshit that he made up in order to spurn controversy so that he could get clicks. And now he's famous, you know. Jordan Peterson has managed to spin that bullshit made up phony baloney controversy into a fucking career as a right-wing influencer. He's managed to fool so many fucking people into thinking that they'll go to prison for not using fucking they, them, or whatever if somebody asks it. Now, Jordan Peterson makes like $60,000 a month now off of his Patreon. It's absolutely fucking bananas how much money this guy makes. From lies. Absolute fucking lies. It's complete, total fucking lies. So no, at no place are anybody compelled to use somebody's personal pronouns. Not in this, I mean, are there cases like that? Have people actually gone to prison? Have people been fired? Like, high profile, you know, university fucking teachers and shit like that? Or whatever, for not using personal pronouns. You know what you will get fired for sexual harassment. And repeatedly misgendering somebody can fall under that umbrella. When someone asks you to call them by a certain gender and you don't do it, that actually can be a fireable offense, yes. That is true. But that's different than compelled speech. If you have a problem with that, if you have a problem with a company or a corporation letting somebody go for harassing one of their employees, then the thing you have a problem with is capitalism, not feminism, not trans people. Because the person compelling that speech is the company owner. Is that not right? The corporation that employs that person, who gets to decide if they want to have this person work for them or not, for whatever reason whatsoever. Do you or do you not support a company, a business owner, and their right to hire and fire someone at will? Do you support that? Yes or no? Because if you don't, are you supporting labor unions then? Are you supporting workers' rights? I mean, that's not a thing that conservatives usually go for either. Give me an example of compelled speech that has to do with someone's personal pronouns. Give me a case of somebody going to prison or being sanctioned or getting kicked off of, like, you know, a high profile person getting fired from a government position or something like that. Because just some dude who's an asshole and who's harassing someone at their work by misgendering them, that's not the same thing as compelled speech. No. That's not it. Continuing on.
Turning off in droves, or are they just bigots and phobes and yada yada yada? The simple answer is, of course, no, of course they're not. This is why pushing a partisan ideology is just cancerous for your show, because you're coming from a position that you think you're all...
Well, people like you are bigots and phobes and whatnot. But no, he is correct there. Not everyone who doesn't watch Doctor Who is a bigot. Obviously not. There's people who are just not into it. For example, I used to watch Doctor Who all the time. Then they took it away. You know, they used to have it on Amazon. I watched it when it was on Amazon. Then right around the time where the guy after David Tennant, like right when that dude left and the really old doctor, whatever his name was, Peter Capaldi, when that dude came on is when I stopped watching. They took it off of Amazon. So, no, I wanted to keep watching it. It was not available. Lots of people maybe might have stopped for reasons like that. Some people just stopped watching because there's too many TV shows on and they just started watching something else. You can't expect someone, especially when there's a show that's been on for fucking 18 years. You can't expect somebody just to keep up with it forever. You know, I used to watch The Simpsons all the time too, way back in the day. I haven't seen The Simpsons in fucking 20 years now. I used to watch South Park constantly all the time too. I haven't kept up with South Park in, jeez, at least a decade. Probably longer. Probably closer to 15 years I haven't watched South Park. Those shows are still going strong. Rick and Morty. I haven't actually watched Rick and Morty past season 5. I just haven't gotten around to it. Do I hate those shows because they're woke or whatever? No. I still like those shows. I'll still watch them when I have time, but there's other shit on that, you know, it's like, okay, one of these days I'll get back to it and I'll catch up with all the South Parks that I missed, or I'll catch up with Rick and Morty season 6 or whatever. I'll get around to it. That doesn't mean that I hate it. Now, of course, there are going to be people who just don't like this latest iteration for whatever reason, and they just don't like it. And here's the thing, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to like a TV show. There's no law that says you have to watch anything. If you don't like it, then just don't watch it. It's absolutely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that either at all. It's this idea that people are turning it off in droves because it's woke, that it's just bullshit. I mean, yes, there will be people who won't watch it because it's quote-unquote woke. Yes, there will be. Is it so many that it's millions of people? No. Not at all. Not at all. If woke content was so bad and so toxic that it instantly killed your TV show, then things like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy or RuPaul's Drag Race or any other of the umpteen million shows that cater to the LGBTQ community, those things wouldn't be on the air. They wouldn't last very long. You know, how long has RuPaul's Drag Race been on the air? Let's see, 14 seasons so far. 16 seasons. Jesus Christ, seriously. Yeah, 16 years. It's been on the air as long as fucking Doctor Who. Do you think only gay people watch that? A show cannot be on the air for so long when only gay people watch it. I mean, I don't think you guys understand. There's not that many gay people in the country. How many gay people could there possibly be in the United States? I don't think that there is an accurate count. But let's see. How many gay people in the United States? Ticks up to 7.1%. 7.1%. That's not very many at all. That's not even 30. I mean, shit. 10% of the population is 35 million, right? So it's not even, it's less than 35 million people are keeping a TV show on the air for 16 years. It's not like every single gay person in the country watches the show either. It's going to be a subset of that many. So it's, no. Obviously, people who are straight are watching RuPaul's Drag Race. Obviously, people who are straight are watching LGBTQ content. It's absurd to think otherwise. People just make I mean, that guy just said that, like, without even fucking thinking. It's just so absurd. Moving on.
Always right. Now, where have we heard this before?
One request. Human race back in the future. Why does everyone think they're right?
So that they win. I make every opinion supreme.
That's the game of the 21st century.
Projection was always a bit of a problem when it came to far-left ideology. But as opposed to a fictional situation where people think they're right, they actually do think that they're right. And therefore their opinion becomes, in their eyes, fact. And instead of trying to win people...
That's bullshit, first off. But yes, people do believe on the left wing that their opinions are correct. They don't think they're facts, per se. Well thought out, correct opinions, yes. That is true. Opinions like we shouldn't commoditize things like education or healthcare, I think is a very well thought out opinion. Or the opinion that we should treat people equally and give people equal rights, I think is a very well thought out opinion. And will take the Pepsi challenge against anybody who has opinions that oppose to that. Those things are not facts per se. I don't know why he gets off saying that at all. That actually seems like a really poorly thought out opinion. I mean, if anything, conservatives are really guilty of this as well. Of basically thinking that their opinions are facts. They're very, very well guilty of that. We see a ton of that shit in this country, too. That people believe shit that just has no fucking basis in fucking reality. You know, guns make you safer. There you go. That is demonstrably untrue. Guns do not make you safer. You owning a gun actually increases your chances of you getting shot. Most of the time with the same gun that you own. That's an actual fact. Right there. The opinion that guns make you safer is a very bad, poorly thought out opinion. And that's just one of many opinions that conservatives have that just really do have no basis in fucking reality. I guess if you're going to say something like that, I mean, everybody of every political persuasion is guilty of that as well. I don't think it's a particularly egregious among people on the left. Maybe among tankies, but... Moving on.
Over with your deeds, you end up doing things like demanding respect, like some goddamn heel wrestler from the WWF.
You and everybody else will respect me.
And you know why heel wrestlers demand respect? It's because it's such an easy way to get heat from the crowd.
Okay.
Because everybody knows respect is earned. You don't get respect when you demand it. You earn your respect. So when you get people saying, you will respect my pronouns, you will respect my gender ideology, the answer is no. So instead of actually crafting a thought-provoking piece of television...
Yeah, okay. So that is really fucking stupid, what this guy just said. In personal relationships with somebody that you interact with and you know them, right? A friend, a family member, a coworker, something like that. Respect is earned. That's how respect works in a personal relationship, right? A coworker is not going to respect you unless you give them a reason to respect you. How do you do that? You do that by working hard, by being competent in your work, by doing, by being smart, by not slacking off, etc., by doing your job well. That's how you earn their respect. Your friends, your family members are not going to respect you unless you earn it from them as well. How do you do that? By being a good person, by not lying, by being on time, by showing them respect, and they return it to you. It doesn't work that way when you're talking about interactions between demographic groups. Somebody like this guy making this video right here is never going to respect a gay person. He'll never respect black people. He will never respect trans people. He'll never respect them at all because his worldview says that he is superior to them automatically. His worldview says that all trans people are groomers and all gay people are perverts. And all leftists are commies or whatever. And that they're oppressing him. That's what his worldview is saying. And it doesn't matter what anybody that belongs to one of these marginal groups actually does. Will never earn his respect. Because it's ingrained in his identity that disrespecting us is okay. That's the difference. Let's just take Nick Fuentes, for example. Do you think that Nick Fuentes will ever respect just a random trans person? Do you think they'll ever get any respect from Nick Fuentes automatically? Do you think there's any kind of interaction, any kind of experience Nick Fuentes could possibly have in his lifetime where he will just be the bigger man and respect a trans person, a random trans person that he meets or reads about or sees on the internet or talks to, something like that? You think Nick Fuentes is going to be the first person to actually treat someone the way that he would like to be treated? Probably not. No. It's ingrained in his personality. It's his entire outlook on life says he doesn't have to. How do you get respect from people like that, who basically think that you're less than human? The same way that the people in the civil rights movement did. They took it. You don't earn respect from people that don't think you're a human being. You force them to respect you. That's what the civil rights movement did, by the way. You know, it wasn't just all singing and dancing and we shall overcome and shit like that. No, the civil rights movement was about forcing people to respect you. They forced people to treat them with respect the way that they wanted. That's what a movement for equal rights is all about. Forcing people to give you the equal rights. Because they're not going to just give it to you. Okay? They will not. They will never do it. Right? If we went like that, if that's what we relied on, just people suddenly having a come to Jesus moment and treating other people with dignity and respect, there'd still be slavery in this country. If that's what we were trying to do. If we were just trying to appeal to the better nature of our oppressors. There is no better nature. That's the thing people need to understand. The person oppressing you does not... If they had a better nature, they wouldn't be oppressing you. So, no. You don't just... there's no way to earn this guy's respect here. Because he doesn't give a fuck. He'll never give it to you. He'll never volunteer it to you. You gotta take it. How do you fucking take it? You do it, you fucking grab it kicking and screaming, and you force them to treat you the way that you want to be treated. Right? Using every tool in the shed, whether that's shaming, whether that's protesting, whether that's changing a law saying, hey, you're not allowed to treat me like this anymore. Right? Making a law saying, no, you're not allowed to discriminate. And if you don't like it, you can fuck off. And that's how it's supposed to work. Part of that is even representation in movies and media. Right? Having a gay black man play an iconic sci-fi hero, and that can do a lot to gaining respect for the LGBTQ community as well. You know why? Because then people will watch the show, they'll go, hey, this gay dude is fucking knocking this shit out of the park. This show is fun and interesting and I like it. And that's how people get over bigotry. That's how you remove bigotry and hatred from your society. It's by forcing people to treat you as an equal, like you're a human being. This dude is confusing that with personal relationships or whatever. You know why? Because it's an excuse. It's an excuse. Now, maybe this guy's never thought of it in those terms that I just listed out before. That could be the case. More than likely, though, he's basically created all this as a way in order to justify his own bigotry. And that's the thing we got to remember about these guys, is that they're disingenuous. Right? Basically, this dude and people like him will take any kind of excuse they can in order to not treat people equally, in order to perpetuate their bigotry. They'll use any kind of dipshit, ridiculous rationalization. And really, when it comes down to that, you shouldn't really argue that kind of thing. The correct response to that is fuck you, is the correct response. Somebody says, no, you have to earn my respect. What you should say back to them is suck my dick. I don't give a fuck if you respect me or not, but I'm gonna, but if you keep fucking with me, this is what's gonna happen. Like, that's how you fucking treat people like this who don't want to, like, respect you. Right? Moving on.
You come across as lecturing and preachy and demanding and aloof and above everybody else. You come across as an obnoxious prick, which is exactly...
Okay. Oh, like you're not coming off as an obnoxious prick right now? Are you serious? You come across as an obnoxious prick, says the guy who just makes like an entire fucking 10-minute video lecturing everybody about how Doctor Who has too many gay people in it and has too many trans people in it. Are you fucking serious? That's not obnoxious at all, huh? You're not coming off as an obnoxious prick there, right? Okay. Yeah, okay. Pot kettle black.
How Russell T Davies and his 4 shows so far have come across to audiences, and that's why people aren't watching the show. The people who are demanding respect don't give any back because they don't respect your position, because in their eyes, they are right and you are wrong.
Yeah, well, if your position is that gay and trans people are less than human and they shouldn't be on TV because they're all perverts and groomers and shit like that, and if that's your fucking position, then yeah, you are wrong. And fuck you. That's the correct response to that. If that's what your fucking position is, that position, that opinion right there doesn't deserve any respect. You don't have to debate that opinion. That's the other thing. See, the other thing with conservatives and shit is they always want to debate you. They always want to debate you. Why? Because it puts their opinions, it puts their stupid, idiotic, bullshit, poorly thought out, bigoted opinions on the same level as yours. And it forces you to go on the defensive. Debate me. Tell me why it's wrong. No. Shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't, nobody should have to sit there and justify their own existence, because that's basically what it comes down to. Debating somebody like this, respecting their quote-unquote opinion that you're less than human, that's what you're basically doing, is they're forcing you to come up with a reason why you have to justify yourself for being a normal person. And the correct response is suck my dick. That's the correct response. No. Nobody should be forced to do that. Nobody should be forced to sit here and have to justify their existence to some random fucking chud on the internet. Kiss my fucking ass. And if you don't like it, fuck you. That's the right response to that. Moving on.
This isn't a debate. It is compliance with their ideology, and people are sick and tired of it. You have taken 60 years...
Say that? It's not a debate. Well, what the fuck are you debating? That they're allowed to exist. That trans people should be treated like normal people. That gay people should be treated like normal people. That minorities should be treated like normal people. That's what he wants to debate. Right? He wants to debate, that they shouldn't be allowed to be on TV. That a gay person or a trans person shouldn't be allowed to be on Doctor Who. Fuck off is the answer to that. This is partially why I don't debate people, right? I've actually had a couple of guys come up to me and ask me to debate them. And they always try to bait you is what you do. And when I say no, I get the same response. They always say, 'cause I'll destroy you. And partially yes, because I don't like debating people. I'm not a debater, right? I've never debated anybody in a formal setting before, and I probably would get fucking annihilated. And you want to know why I would lose? Because debates are not about the truth. That's the thing. Debating somebody is not about who's right or who's wrong, who's empirically correct, who has the evidence behind them. It's about who puts on a better show. Don't debate morons like this. You know, there are certain people on the left that actually do debate people, you know, people like Vosh and shit like that. And if that's their thing, that's cool. But your average ordinary person doesn't have, you know, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to justify any of this shit. You shouldn't have to justify your existence, your opinions on anything. You know, if they don't like it, bend over and kiss my giant fucking butt cheeks. That's all the debate you're going to get out of me. Moving on.
Years of Doctor Who history and fundamentally changed it for your ideological purposes, and then you wonder why people have rejected your show, but more importantly, they're rejecting your ideology. You're not winning people over, you're turning more and more people against you, and in the...
What did they change about Doctor Who history, per se? I mean, there's only been 3 episodes, so what exactly did they change? The fact that, that Doctor Who's black now? Why is that a big fucking deal? What, there's no such thing as black Time Lords? Right? You understand that Doctor Who is fiction, right? It's not real. It's fantasy. Time Lords are not a real thing. They don't exactly exist out there. They can be whatever the hell they want them to be. There can be black Time Lords. There could be Asian Time Lords. There could be female Time Lords. There can be gay Time Lords. Why not? Why is that a big fuck? Why is that changing the history? Why, just because, like, the first fucking 16 doctors have been, like, white? They're not allowed to have black one? All of a sudden? How the fuck is that changing the history? It's a TV show, for fuck's sake. It can have whatever fucking history they want it to have. The stupidest fucking shit. These people just have, like, the most idiotic justifications. All you have to do is just think about what they actually say for like 2 seconds, and the shit just falls apart. Because it's all about spreading hate. That's a reason why it all falls apart, because racism and bigotry is the product of a small mind. Moving on.
The words of Princess Leia Organa.
The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
But more importantly, the people who are watching your stuff understand full well that
I'm guessing that was supposed to be funny too, right?
your ideology is rooted in lies. The very people that you claim to champion are actually being hurt because of it. Whether it be through corporations exploiting them, whether it be through people pretending to be things that they're not, be they actors or influencers or social media personalities or other such celebrities, whatever celebrity means. In other words, vapid narcissists and also predators that are all too willing to exploit these situations in an effort.
What the fuck is he talking about? So, what? Transgender ideology is hurting people? Okay. You know what actually hurts people? Bigots. There's a meme on the right that transgender people and gay people kill themselves at a higher rate, commit suicide at a higher rate. And they kind of do. But why? Why do they commit suicide at a higher rate? Why do trans people in general, trans children, tend to commit suicide? Well, why do people commit suicide anyway? Because they're depressed. Most of the time. They're depressed. They think they've got no way out. That's the only reason why people kill themselves, who are not otherwise mentally ill in some way. Is that they kind of feel like there's no way out and they can't continue to go on living. Well, why would someone feel like that? Well, maybe it's because the friends and family they have in their lives are treating them like they're less than human. Maybe it's because of all the bigotry and hatred and transphobia and homophobia and whatnot. Imagine that. Imagine I'm not a gay person. I'm not a trans person. I'm cis male. I don't have a frame of reference to the gay or trans experience. I'm not the person who should be talking for these people because I haven't lived it. I don't know what it's like. But I know what bigotry is like. I mean, I'm not exactly white. And although it happens very rarely, occasionally, I do encounter someone who's a fucking asshole and uses racial slurs against me. And it's funny because nobody can figure out, when the racists show up and they try to call me names, they can never figure out exactly what race I actually am. Because, I'm actually part Asian. They always think that I'm Latino or something. I have that bit of context, and I can only imagine what it must be like every day, every single person that you meet fucking with you constantly. People at your job or at your school talking behind your back, insulting you constantly, people beating the shit out of you for no reason, assaulting you, randomly fucking just, attacking you for no fucking... I mean, that shit happens all the time. Even today, even in a place as liberal as California, Los Angeles, West Hollywood has a gigantic LGBTQ community. That shit happens every single day. There's people going out. These people get assaulted. Gay bashing. I mean, it happens so often. There's like a specific term for it. Gay bashing. I can only imagine that. That's not part of my lived experience. I've never experienced somebody just beating the crap out of me for just existing. Imagine if that's what your life was like. Every fucking day. And your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your family, they're not fucking helping you. Your parents disowning you because you're gay or you're trans. Kicking you out of the house because of that. Do you think anybody likes that? Is it any wonder why so many people, it's such a scary thing for them to come out of the closet? Because that's how people are going to react. Imagine losing your job because your boss is a fucking bigot. And what are you going to do? Sue him? Well, you got to have money for a lawyer, don't you? Good luck with that. Everybody says it's not as easy as everybody says. Like, oh, you could just take them to court for discrimination. Yeah, okay, do it. Right? Do you have the money and the time and the resources to spend the next 5 years fighting your former employer over the fact that they fired you for a bullshit reason? Most people don't. Even in a society like this, which is supposedly very progressive now when it comes to that kind of thing. Right? Even in the corporate culture now, which is super prevalent, how everybody has to be inclusive and all that. They make it take, in corporate America now, it's a major bad thing, discrimination training and all that. They make it do all that. Even there, in the kind of, there's been improvements, right? But even still, the onus is upon you if you're the one who's a victim of this kind of thing. And if you don't have the time, you don't have the money, if you don't have the resources or the know-how, you ain't getting shit. How often does it happen and we just never hear about it? Someone getting fired, someone getting passed over for a promotion, right? Somebody just not being hired at all in the first place because they're gay, because they're trans, right? How often does that happen? They just never get a call back. How the fuck do you prove that someone didn't hire you because of your sexual orientation? Good fucking luck. Okay? Imagine that was your life. Kind of seems like you'd be a little depressed, don't you think? Kind of seems like if that's the kind of shit you were dealing with on a daily fucking basis, you might lend itself to a higher suicide rate. Wouldn't you say? Maybe if people weren't such fucking dicks to these people, then they wouldn't engage in self-harm. You ever think about that? The problem is not with them. Long story short, what I'm getting at here, the problem isn't with gay or trans people killing themselves. The problem is with the way they're treated by assholes like this making this video. Moving on. There's only 2 minutes left. 3 minutes. 2 minutes. So let's watch the last 2 minutes. We're going to turn this to 2 times speed. 1.75 speed. We'll go to that. And let's watch the rest.
to further their own careers understand the safety that it affords them as well, and the approval that it will get them for sponsorships and other such deals, all comes at the detriment of the very people you claim to support. There's no denying now that Doctor Who is well and truly dead. This upcoming series starting in May is pretty much doomed from the get-go. If the viewership is already as low as it is, how much lower do you think it'll get when it's not a special? I'm willing to bet that it'll definitely go to the lows of Jodie Whittaker's run, and possibly even lower, especially when the stars of the show open their mouths and say shit like this. New Doctor Who companion, Millie Gibson. There are so many controversial elements to this season. It's what we need. No, Millie, it's not what we need. What we need is for the family entertainment show to be family orientated again, because...
All right, first off, what's wrong with controversial elements to a show? All right, first thing I want to say there, what's wrong with that? I mean, having your show be a little, deal with actual issues that people deal with is what makes TV interesting. Because if it was always just about robots and aliens and shit, that's cool and all, but that can be a little shallow. Case in point, Star Trek, right? Star Trek is never just about Klingons and Romulans and Cardassians and shit like that. Star Trek is at its best when it's allegorical. The old show in the 60s, the Klingons were basically allegorical for the Cold War. They were basically the Russians, and there was a demilitarized zone, the neutral zone and whatnot. That's when Star Trek was at its best. In the 1990s, you had things like the Cardassians, and, they were allegorical for fascism. And then you had the Bajorans and all that, and that was sort of allegorical for the Palestinians or whatnot being oppressed by a fascist state. That kind of thing, right? And then you had the Ferengi, and they were a very good symptom of capitalism gone amok. That's what makes Star Trek good. It's because it's not just sci-fi and robots and aliens and, beam me up Scotty and all that shit. And Kirk fighting like a fucking Gorn. It's not just all that stuff. It's the social commentary that goes with it. And modern Trek is all about that as well. Discovery, Picard for sure. I mean, there's an entire season basically all about, season 2 of Picard is all about global climate change, essentially, and that kind of thing. I mean, even Lower Decks gets in on some of this sometimes as well, in a satirical kind of way. That's the difference between something like Star Trek and then, say, any other given generic, stupid-ass fucking, fly-by-night, forgettable sci-fi show that only lasts 2 or 3 seasons. Doctor Who is also all about that as well, right? It's what makes it good. It's what makes it interesting. And when your show's not interesting, people don't watch. Maybe they should make it a little more controversial, huh? That'll get more people tuning in. That's the first thing. Second thing, it says, it should be all about family. Your family show should be more family friendly. Why is having a gay person on your show not family friendly? Why is that? What is it about having a gay person or a trans person that instantly makes it unfamily friendly? Gay people and trans people are more than just their sexual orientation. You understand that, right? Gay people are more than just fucking. They're about more than just getting laid. About sucking dick, about fucking in the, anal sex. They're more than that, right? Trans people are more than just them and their hormones and their surgeries and their pronouns. They're actual people as well. He's reducing these people just to that, just to their sexual orientation and their, and their gender, their preferred gender or whatnot, and the controversies that he imposes upon them. He's the one reducing gay and trans people to that. Why can't a gay person have a family? What is so anti-family about there being a gay person, right? On a TV show. Don't trans people also have mothers and brothers and sisters and sons and daughters. I know it can be amazing that a gay person can actually be a father or be a mother, right? Or a trans person can have offspring. I know that these guys, that doesn't compute for these fucking morons. Because they think only like cis men and women are allowed to have children for some dumbass fucking reason. But it's true. Gay people, trans people actually have families as well. Do they not? So why is it just instantly not appropriate for children? Not family friendly when you have a gay person or a trans person in your show? Give me a reason that doesn't have to do with bigotry. What? Are they instantly gonna turn into groomers and brainwash all the children into chopping their dicks off? Is that what's gonna fucking happen? Get the fuck out of my face with this bullshit. Moving on.
Controversial elements mean partisan politics, and everybody fucking knows that. You're not winning people over with shit like this. You're pushing people further away, and the more you try to isolate groups, the
partisan politics, i.e. stuff that we don't like. You know, everything they don't like is partisan, if you guys don't know that. Right? If they're cool with it, it's not partisan. It's not partisan at all, you notice, to have a Christmas episode, right? I mean, not everyone in the world is a Christian. Are they not? There's Jewish people and Hindus and Muslims and atheists out there in the world too. You notice how none of them fucking complain every year when there's a Christian, Christmas episode. Doctor Who does a Christmas special every year. That's never controversial, is it? No, it's only controversial when it has to do with something that is not specifically catered to the in-group. Keep that in mind, right? That's the number one way that you can tell someone's opinion is bigoted, ridiculous horseshit. Moving on.
The more it looks like your behavior is predatory and is trying to co-opt and indoctrinate as opposed to entertain. Once again,
how the fuck is it indoctrination? How? By what? By asking people to be treated as equals? How is that indoctrination? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Aren't you supposed to treat people like they're equals? Isn't that like what Jesus tells you to do? Right? So what the fuck is wrong with that? Why is that such a big fucking thing? How is it indoctrination to have a gay person or a trans person on your TV show being treated as an equal? Answer my question. He couldn't answer that. If he was right in front of me right now and I were to ask him that question, he wouldn't be able to answer it without resorting to some fucking stupid ass bigotry shit, saying some shit like, well, they're gonna brainwash kids into I guess being trans or something, right? He wouldn't be able to answer me without resorting to that stupid shit like that. He wouldn't be able to, because that's what it is to these people, it's just the fact that a gay person exists at all is what makes it wrong, is what makes it anti-family, is what makes it indoctrination. The fact that even a gay person is just there and that they're fucking not being made fun of or not getting their asses beat or whatever is enough to treat it as indoctrination. Keep that in mind, right? Because to him, gay people are not equal. And they don't deserve to be treated equally, right? The correct answer, once again, folks, is fuck you.
an industry that's known for its disgusting individuals, murderers, thieves, rapists, and in the case of the BBC, paedophiles, as the BBC protected them for years and years and years. Once more, want to tell you, the public, how you should be thinking when they're the most...
Yeah, I don't really know what he's talking about there when he says the BBC protected pedophiles. I mean, did they? I don't know. I'm not going to bother looking that up right now. And maybe that's something I might research for a future video. I don't know how true that is. One thing I can tell you, though, is that the people who are actually preying upon children are not trans, are not gay, are not drag queens. I mean, really, none of the crimes of those three groups I just mentioned compares in the slightest to the amount of sexual assault and straight up rape committed by institutions such as the Catholic Church or the Republican Party or conservative Protestant churches around the country in the United States. They're notorious for sexual assault, sexual abuse against children. Notorious for that. So, no. Now, I'm not going to say that no gay person, no trans person ever has never done any bad shit with kids. Okay, I'm not going to, against children. I'm not going to say that because obviously that's not true. Obviously, yes, it does happen. As you will find the same kind of thing with every demographic group in this country. There's always going to be some small segment of people who are complete scumbags. What I am saying is that I will take the Pepsi challenge any day of the week of the actual numbers of victims perpetrated by gay, trans, and drag queens versus, say, the Catholic Church. Where is your child in more danger? At drag queen story hour or at Sunday Mass? Okay. Just wanted to throw that out there. We should end this pretty soon, but there is exactly 34 seconds left. So let's just listen to the last 34 seconds.
Vile people on the planet. So no, you don't come across as progressive or open. No, you come across as obnoxious and insidious and insufferable. Doctor Who is dead. R.I.P. Doctor Who.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be vile and insidious and insufferable. Especially when you're dealing with a guy like this. Let's go ahead and turn that shit off. I am very happy with myself that we got through the entire video. It only took an hour and a half. But fuck it, half of this shit's probably going to be cut out when I get to YouTube anyway. Still, though, I think it's worth watching. You know, why some people like, why am I bothering watching this guy, right? This heel versus babyface dude. He's an obvious fucking moron. He has bad opinions. Why am I wasting my time responding to a video like this? It's because we should know what these people think. We should know what they say. If for anything, if even just for the reason that you know what the arguments are that they're making and how to counter them. And you should always pay attention when people like this say crazy fucking things. Because here's the thing about conservatives, right, folks? Conservatives have very poor imaginations. They really, honestly, most of them only have a couple of brain cells to actually rub together. And they tend to just repeat the same shit over and over and over. Conservatives are notorious for this, for basically all having the exact same opinions about everything. Everything that guy just said in that video, you can go to Facebook or Twitter and find umpteen million posts that basically parrot the exact same fucking thing. Am I saying this isn't a thing that happens on the left? Well, yes, I am. Not as much, not to the same extent. Yes, you find similar opinions upon leftists as well, and progressives and all that stuff. Not in the same way against conservatives, especially when it comes to conservative Christians. The way they argue, the arguments they make, the opinions they hold are nearly uniform. I mean, if you don't believe me, go and debate Christians about creationism. There you go. You will see exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Same thing here with the, the debates among trans people and gay people. They just say the same fucking things over and over and over again. No matter how often somebody disproves them or humiliates them or shows that what they're saying is wrong or bullshit, it keeps coming back over and over and over. So it's a good idea to kind of keep track. You know, there'll be the same arguments, just rephrased and put back out there again. You know, you notice that they're starting to move away, for example, they're starting to move away from the trans people are all groomers. They're moving away from that, and they're moving towards this sort of, they're using, the language they're using now is indoctrination. You notice that? You notice in that whole video, he didn't say groomer once. He didn't say groomer. He never said trans people are grooming your children, right? What did he say? The indoctrination. He said indoctrination 3 or 4 times. He said brainwashing. It's the same argument, just reworded the exact same way. You know, they're reworded. The same thing. It's the groomer argument over and over and over again. Just variations on that over and over. And they've been using that same argument for decades. I don't know if you guys know this. Forever and ever. It used to be illegal for gay people to teach in schools. You know, that, like, it was like, well, I don't know if it was illegal per se, but it was like impossible for a gay person to get a job as a teacher back in the day, back in the 50s and 60s. Why? Because they were afraid that they were going to indoctrinate children. Right? Same fucking thing, that they were going to groom children into the gay lifestyle. Like being gay is a disease that you can like catch or some shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is sometimes worth checking out your opposition just so you can kind of see like, well, how are they rewording their bullshit this time, right? How are they going to restate the same fucking arguments over? And so that way you can counter it. You know exactly what know thy enemy, right? That's one thing. And then also, sometimes I think it's healthy to just use mockery as a tool for social change. Because a lot of these people, their ideals and their opinions and stuff, like I said before, they shouldn't be debated. You shouldn't have to waste your time, right, debating someone, bigotry or hatred or anything like that, right? Racism, Islamophobia, homophobia, transphobia. You shouldn't have to waste your time debating shit like that. It's very, in my opinion, just better just to fucking make fun of it and make fun of the people who spread it. Because fuck them. Right? Like he said there, you earn respect, right? Well, you get as much respect as you give. And if they're giving you 0 respect, I don't see why you should have to respect their dumbass fucking opinions. Fuck them. Who cares, right? So, I think that's healthy sometimes. I think it's healthy sometimes just to basically wave a giant middle finger in the face of your oppressors and just remind them who they are. Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.